All right, everyone, this is Hakeem and Toshi Isler. I'm here with Adam, one of our junior instructors, as well as our junior black belts. Adam's been training with us for many years now, and I thought it would be cool to catch up with him on this edition of Inside Elevo. Adam, how long have you been training in the ninja martial arts here at Elevo Dynamics?
Well, I started training when I was 5 years old, and I just turned 15 recently, so that would make it 10 years now that I've been training in this martial art.
Wow, 10 years, that's a long time. How did you get involved in this martial art?
Well, I was 5 years old when we started, and we were looking for some extracurricular activities to do. And we had done sports, and I liked that. And we also, I think I came in one time and I tried a class and I really loved it, and after the class I said I'm gonna get my black belt, and so it just sort of went on from there, and I just kept on doing it until I...
Wow, that's pretty powerful. I like that you said you came in, your 5-year-old little bundle of potential, and you say, I'm going to get my black belt. And I think that's really important, because there's so many people who say that, who say, I want to do something. Hey, I want to become a dancer. I want to become a singer. I want to become a doctor or engineer. They know that from a little small bundle of potential. I mean, I knew I wanted to be a ninja when I was 9 years old. I told my family, I want to be a ninja. But then so many people don't follow through. They find reasons, other sports, other activities, things come up in their life, especially with you being 5. I mean, that's a lot of time over 10 years for other things to creep in there and kind of pull you away from the process of becoming a junior black belt. So what do you think, what were you feeling at that time that you said that? And then when you moved along your journey, did you come up across anything that kind of like held you up or pulled you away? Like, what was that process?
When I was really little, you know, I said I'm gonna get my black belt. And at that time, I thought it was mainly just a fun activity to do with my friends. And then as I got older and I started thinking about stuff more, I realized that this is actually something that's not gonna help me just have a fun time, but it's also gonna help me grow as a person. And that really helped me be more encouraged to really strive for the best in this martial art.
I guess the big question is, over the course of that time, did you ever want to quit?
Not really. I mean, there were definitely challenges that I thought were going to be tough. Like when I started the coaches program, and now I'm an instructor, so I've sort of reached the height of it at my age for right now. I started as a coach, and there was a lot of difficulty with that, and I questioned, do I really want to become a coach and an instructor? And then I ultimately got more training, and I understood, oh, I'd been doing this wrong, and that's why I wasn't getting the results that I expected. And so it was more training, realized that I'd not been doing it correctly, but then I figured out how to do it right, and then that was even more powerful than I think just doing it right the first time. So, yeah.
So you never really wanted to quit, but what you're saying is that in the process of growing in this martial art, you realized that there were still levels that you had not reached yet. And I think that's important. Sometimes, you know, especially as a black belt, sometimes people think they come into a martial art, oh, I'll be a black belt. So that's one journey within itself. It's really hard to get a black belt in a martial art. Then they get that black belt, and then they feel like, oh, well, I reached everything, I don't need to do it. But you said in your particular case that you were doing things and you thought you were doing them right, but then you had an opportunity to teach, and you saw it through teaching, you learned that, oh no, actually, I've been doing it a little wrong, and you discovered that in the process of showing someone else. That's one of the biggest things that I tell people. If you really want to get good at something, whatever it is, help train other people. Because in that process, you have to become more intimate, more in depth. You get more in depth learning in that process of learning the martial arts, and that's very important. But in anything, again, if you're an actor or if you're a mathematician or whatever, you really want to learn how to do it, then go beyond yourself and learn how to teach other people. And in that process, you're going to really learn the depth of that knowledge. So I think that I can applaud you for that, because that's huge to come up with. And for you to even recognize that, I guess, what age do you think you were around at that time?
I don't even remember when I became a coach. I wasn't 15 like I am now, but I was still, I think I'd maybe, what, 11 or 12 maybe?
11 or 12, yeah.
Yeah, and I started teaching them. I'm like, do this. And then they had trouble doing it, and I'm like, well, wait, how do I tell them to do what I'm doing, but not just show them? And it's really, something about putting it into words, I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, because everybody learns differently,
Yeah.
right? So like you learned it a certain way and you understand it, but now you're standing there in front of this young person and you're trying to convey to them what you know how to do, but they're not understanding.
Yeah.
So now you have to come up with a new way to explain that. That is so deep. I tell people all the time, like, martial arts is a life skill that's going to teach you how to get better and so many other things, because you're going to have these moments where you are learning new ways to communicate. Because there's one way to communicate, the way you communicate, but then what happens when people don't understand that? What happens when people don't get that? So now you're searching for new ways to communicate, and that means that you grow. That means that you grow to a new level. What other hobbies do you have? That's what.
I do music stuff. I like to sing a whole bunch. I play guitar. I do acting too. And like you were saying, this martial art is a life skill, can help you with so many other things. One of the really cool things that I learned from this martial art, especially, is memorization. Like, you have to know terms and stuff. And acting, you have to memorize a bunch. And I never would have been able to do that if I hadn't learned how to memorize stuff here doing this. So that is a really important skill.
Yes, I guess sometimes parents don't like that. They're like, oh, my kid goes to school all day, then they come here and they have to learn Japanese terms, and I'm like, well, this is one gonna help them in ways we don't even know yet, because they're learning how to like use other parts of their brain, but two, they're learning what it takes to be good at something.
Yeah.
Right? You can't just say, I want to be good at something and it just pop up. No, you got to work at it. You got to learn the ins and outs of that. You have to learn the language. You got to dive into the culture of whatever it is. If it's art, you learn the language of the art that you're studying. You learn the culture of the art that you're studying. If it's mechanical engineering, you learn the language of that thing.
Yeah.
You learn the art of mechanical engineering, and that's what makes you a good mechanical engineer. And so if it's acting, you learn the language of acting. And I don't mean like just the script, but the language, the energy that goes into it, the art of acting. And that's what takes you from just somebody who's dabbling in it to somebody who's like really growing from it, who's really learning, who's really becoming an actor, who's becoming a martial artist, who's becoming a mechanical engineer. That's really important. How can this program help other people? You said as a junior instructor, you're looking at other youth and you're helping them grow. How can this help other people?
There are so many ways. There's so many things. Like I said, if you're having trouble learning stuff in school, come here. You might learn things a different way, like how to memorize stuff. For one, I know a lot of people nowadays especially have confidence issues. I never have really had confidence issues, and I think this is a really big part of that, because I knew I'm growing, I'm getting better at something, even though I might have maybe made a bad grade, some people get really down on themselves for that, but even if I messed up then, even if I mess up here, I understand that it's all part of growing towards being a better person.
You were homeschooled, but you have friends that go to traditional school as well. And how, with this being the back to school time, how do you feel like, name maybe like 5 things you feel like somebody going back to school can get if they study this martial art?
Well, I think bullying is a big problem, and so this is a martial art, self-defense martial arts. You learn how to defend yourself, and also other people. Maybe a bully's not picking on you, but maybe you have the confidence, like I was talking about a minute ago, to stand up for somebody else and say, hey man, that's not cool, don't do that. So that's the one thing. Like I said, memorization helps you in school, definitely. And confidence again, a lot of people have a hard time making friends and stuff. never had a hard time. One of the first things I know that happens when you come into class for the first time, people come up, introduce themselves to you, and then if you stay, then you get to practice that skill yourself when new people come into your class, and then you go introduce yourself to them. And making new friends is always a great thing, and I've made a lot of friends here and everywhere just by using a simple handshake. Hi, my name's Adam White. What's your name? And I learned it from here. You know, that's not really 5. But there's a lot of stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. I sometimes too. I hear, you know, I've heard in the past over the years of me doing this, where people talk about this handshake thing that we do. Oh no, I make everyone look them in the eye, and you got to introduce yourself, and you have to wait for them to respond and introduce themselves, and if they don't, you have to ask them politely, and then you gain their name, and then people will come back to the line, and I'll say, what's this person's name? And I'll see if they know, and if they don't know, then I have to do some compassionate correction, and I say, oh, well, that means you got to do squats because you didn't follow through with what we said to do. And some people really don't like that. They think, well, this is not what I signed up for. I signed up to learn a martial art, and I learned how to do this stuff, be more confident, but you're telling me to learn people's names and shake their hand and look them in the eye, and I'm like, that's part of it. Part of martial arts is your confidence, your strength, your focus, your ability to gather the information, know your surroundings, be aware of the people in your environment. So this is all part of the learning. And that's going to carry over into every aspect of your life. If you walk into a room at a social gathering and you're the guy hanging out, hiding in the corner, it's going to be very hard for you to have any meaningful relationships in that room. If you go to a new school, if you go to a college, if you go for acting and you go for a part, it's going to be really hard for you to make meaningful relationships or connections with people if you can't even say your name confidently. If you can't remember somebody else's name, if you can't look them in the eye and shake their hand with sternness, with focus, with discipline. 10 years training here at Elevo Dynamics. What did it feel like to get your black belt?
Well, you know, you were saying earlier, a lot of people, they get their black belt and that's sort of the end for them. And they're like, I finally did it, finally accomplished my goal, you know, and then they stop. You know, I think there was a quote, and I think it was something, I'm probably gonna mess it up, but it's success is a journey or something like that. And I think that's really cool because success isn't the end, because if you just are at the end, it doesn't mean anything if there's not a journey to get there, you know? And so black belt is just really another step in the journey, you know?
Adam, is there anything else you want to leave the people at home with today?
You should come join us. If you're not already part of the dojo, you should come. It's great. It's great fun, great learning, it's a great time.
I'm Hakeem Isler, and this is Adam White. We're here at Elevo Dynamics, downtown Fayetteville. Thank you for this episode. Thank you for watching this episode of Inside Elevo, the Martial Arts Edition.